Well, howdy partners, it's your old buddy the Reddit Rider, and welcome back to the Reddit Ranch. Why don't y'all come in and sit a spell, 'cause I got some mighty fine tales to tell. Like our first story today. It deals with a cowpoke who received an inheritance from his parents that is to be split 50-50 with his sister, but she wants more than her fair share. Gee, partners, it never ceases to amaze me how whenever someone passes on, folks' hands come shooting out trying to lasso as many dollar bills as possible.
AITA for refusing to share my half of the inheritance money with my niblings? I'm 34, and my sister is 40, and we recently lost our last remaining parent. We are both devastated, but regardless, the logistics all need to be worked out. Our parents were very clear in their will that our inheritance and all property are split evenly between the two of us. It's to the tune of around $1 million. Here's where the problems start. I'm gay. I live with my partner who I'm not married to across the country from the rest of my family. My sister and her husband have 3 small kids under 11. My sister said that since it's highly unlikely I'll ever have kids, which still remains to be seen, I haven't decided that yet, and because I live a comfortable life currently, that I should take at least a quarter of my inheritance money and open bank accounts for her kids. Instead of using her own money to do that, she wants to buy a McMansion to get out of their smaller cramped house. Basically implying that her and her family need the money more than I do since they're married with kids and I'm not. She thinks my parents were unfair when they created the will and that I should do the right thing to make up for their mistake. Our entire family is split on the issue. My brother-in-law is obviously on my sister's side and says I'm being greedy and don't care about my niblings' future. Our aunts and uncles and cousins all have differing opinions, with the more homophobic side of the family saying I'm being a greedy AH. This is causing a major rift, and I'm worried that eventually she'll cut me off and won't let me have a relationship with the kids anymore. Part of me thinks maybe they do need the money more than me. Maybe I should just let the money go. AITA?
No partner, y'all ain't the sidewinder, and I plumb reckon that your folks were not being unfair. You're not the greedy one here, y'all's sister is. Your folks wanted each of you to have half, that is what you got. Her youngings ain't y'all's responsibility, they are hers. If she wants her youngings to have a trust fund, then she can provide it. You didn't say if that was $1 million each, or split, but because you mentioned that she wants to buy a MC mansion, then I'll assume it's $1 million each. In which case, she could set her sights a little lower, and provide a trust fund for her youngings. Oh, by the way, when it comes to whether or not you decide to have youngings of your own, if you did get $1 million, you could adopt me, I'm cheap and I won't eat much. Well partners, what do y'all think he should do? What would you do if you were him? Let me know in the comments. Next we have one posted by a fine gent who's thinking of chucking away a 7-year-long friendship because he found out that she was messing around with a married coworker.
AITA for ending my 7-year friendship with my best friend because she was sleeping with her coworker? Context: she is 19 and he is a 42-year-old married man with children. I voiced my concern as I worried for her safety given the age gap and the fact that she could get hurt by the wife or worse. We unfortunately got into an argument, and I ended up saying that I am morally against this as she is partially responsible for destroying a marriage and ruin children's lives. But I was more concerned with the fact that he was, from my perspective, manipulating her. She said he was actually a really nice guy, he listens to her, and he said that we can stop if I say so. Now, as a man, when I hear that it immediately creates red flags because that is a normal manipulation tactic, I should know as I used to do that to women, give them the illusion of control. I don't anymore and have changed my ways. Criticize, or hate me, I deserve it. I blocked her on Snapchat and told her that I cannot continue the friendship because I am morally against what she is doing, and I personally don't want to associate with people doing something my conscience cannot condone. She knows full well that what she is doing is wrong but has zero remorse. And because I cannot call someone who verbally badmouths someone for looking out for their friend a true friend. She then texts me and says, "If it's hurting you so badly then I will stop," to which I said, "No, I'm not going to be the person to control your life. You have to make that decision on your own. I don't like controlling people." My GF decided to get involved and contacted her. She told my GF that I am manipulative and controlling after she gave her opinion on the situation. Though thanks to her we agreed to set a time and date to talk in person and try and salvage the friendship. She blocked me shortly after. AITA?
Well now son, we are all entitled to our young and dumb phase, but when you're 19, and you're messing with a 42-year-old man, that is married with children no less, well, young and dumb just doesn't seem to cover it. I believe anyone that knowingly gets involved with a married person, especially if they have youngings, to be morally corrupt. And this sorry excuse for a man will just lead her on and use her for physical pleasure. It's unlikely that he'll ever leave his family for your friend. Eventually, he'll leave y'all's friend in the dust for either his family, or for someone else. Because that is what varmints do. Maybe, at that time, she may want to re-establish communication with you. But, to answer your questions, no, I don't reckon y'all's a sidewinder. Your friend needs to realize that she needs to make better life choices, because the choices we make impact the people around us. Well partners, I think that 19-year-old is in for one hell of a wake-up call. What do y'all reckon? Has anything like this happened to you? Let me know down in their comments. Our next story is about a tenderfoot that is feeling pressured to move in with his girlfriend, but the problem is, he just doesn't want to.
I don't feel ready to move in with my girlfriend after 2 years in a relationship. My girlfriend and I are both 30, and we have been together for over 2 years, and we have learned to function well together as a couple, and we have a solid connection. Things are going well, and moving in together is in the expectation of everyone around us, and of course my girlfriend. She is suggesting it less and less subtle. Now, it is basically a question of when. However, I don't feel ready to take that jump and move in as I like having a space for myself and I can sometimes feel choked. I need a place where I can be not present and in my own world, which creates a slight chaser-chasey dynamic sometimes. I have solved this by simply recharging at my own place from time to time, and it has worked out well. With the suggestion to move and gaining pressure, I feel afraid of losing that safe space and feel deep down that I don't want this now. It feels like a compromise, give up personal freedom, living alone, to have a long-term relationship, living together. Is this a sacrifice most due to because they would rather have a relationship than be alone but also not choked? Or could this point to an incompatibility? Is telling her that I would like to continue living separate be a sensible request by me in your eyes? Or would it be a signal if doubt and regress in the relationship?
Well now partner, I do reckon that y'all shouldn't move in with her until you're ready to do it. But you are right, when you move in with someone, you do have to sacrifice a bit, sometimes a small sacrifice, sometimes a big sacrifice. It truly depends on the person. But it can be truly worth it. What you need to do is ask yourself is how do you truly feel about your girlfriend? Do y'all love her? Do y'all see a future with her? And what would you sacrifice for her? Just think about it. Well, what do y'all think partners? Do you reckon his issues are valid, or do you think it's just a case of cold feet? Let me know in the comments. Our last story for the day is, well, a little bit of a hard read. It involves a younging that no one wants.
AITA for telling my former mother-in-law that I am not obligated to provide her grandchild with a home? I'm 32, and I have a son who's 8 with my ex-husband. He and I were married for 3 years and had our son a year into the marriage. He messed around on me multiple times and I only found this out the day of our 3rd wedding anniversary, an hour before an anniversary party he was throwing for me. He invited his at the time girlfriend, there were multiple women, and she was supposedly a friend. I still remember how much it broke me to have it all happen as it did. I felt humiliated. My marriage ended that day, and he moved in with the girlfriend. We ended up sharing custody of our son, and the divorce was easy enough. He ended up marrying the girlfriend and their relationship was a mess. They had a child together who is now 3. The child they had together is currently with my ex's parents. This came about because my ex and his new wife messed around on each other, and both had zero interest in their little girl. They broke up for a period of time and the mom dumped their daughter on my ex and he told his parents he didn't want her either. CPS got involved and neither my ex or his wife wanted their child back. None of the maternal family wanted her. None of the rest of my ex's family wanted her. The grandparents don't truly want her either, but didn't want to look like they allowed her to go into foster care. I know this because about a month ago my former mother-in-law started to reach out asking me to raise her granddaughter with my son. She said ex and his wife got back together and still don't want their child. She told me all the sordid things and admitted they did not want to raise another child. She said she knows I'm a good mom and that I am technically kind of a stepmom. I shut that down fast and said I am no step-parent. I told her I wasn't interested during that conversation, but she did not let it drop. She has repeatedly contacted me in the past month about giving her granddaughter a home with my son and I, and how the kids should be raised together. To make the whole thing even more complicated, my ex still has custody time with our son and takes his custody time. The last time my former mother-in-law tried to talk me into it, I told her I am not obligated to provide her granddaughter with a home. She said she might not be my child by blood, but she is my son's sibling. I told her I know all about complicated dynamics with half-siblings, and it never bothered me not to be raised with mine or to even know mine. I told her I was in similar shoes to my son, and I think he will be just fine. That since she's with them we can facilitate contact, but I do not want to give her a home. Former mother-in-law said I would regret my choice and she said I am being cruel. She said she and her husband should not have to start over raising a child and I already have one. She called me cold and all sorts of other stuff. So I ended the call and blocked her number.
No ma'am, y'all ain't the sidewinder in this here story, and the disgrace is not on you, it's on them. You did not abandon that child, they did. This child is what your mother-in-law's son made, she is their responsibility. If they are too weak and cowardly to take care and love their child, then they should put the child up for adoption. Then she may get a life she truly deserves, with a family that truly deserves her. Oh my good Lord partners, that poor child. What would y'all do if you were her? Let me know. Well partners, I do plumb reckon that it's time for this good old boy to ride off into the sunset. But if y'all enjoyed y'all's time at the Reddit Ranch, then I'd thank y'all kindly to hit like and subscribe. It'll really make this old cowboy smile. Until the next time we meet, adios.